Um, well, my parents sort of introduced me to the Beatles when I was about 3 years old, and I just fell in love with music. Um, all throughout elementary school, I was constantly trying to form bands because I wanted to start the next Beatles, starting in kindergarten. Um, I remember in third grade, I actually had auditions for a boy band. I would, get guys from all around my school to come and audition. They'd have to sing and they'd have to dance. Yeah, yeah. Well, because this was back when NSYNC was really popular and Backstreet Boys were really popular. So I wanted to, do something like that. Um, Around that same time was when I started writing music, and I started playing drums. And then I eventually learned how to play guitar, bass, piano. Um, and I just sort of went from there and started doing everything. Yeah, a lot of the songs are from personal experiences, especially on the first CD, Long Gone. Most of those are all from personal experiences that really happened, and I wanted to sort of tell stories and express that those feelings that I was feeling at the time, because I knew a lot of people could relate to them. With this new CD, a lot of the songs are more, uh, ideas that I had that I talked to my songwriting partners about, or that maybe they had, um, rather than necessarily actual events. Um, well, around probably my sophomore or junior year in high school, I really, really started to become influenced by Bruce Springsteen and Tom Petty and John Mellencamp. Um, and so that really started to influence my sound. And then probably around my senior year in high school was when I started transition and started listening to country music for the first time. And I mean, people like Taylor Swift and Keith Urban have become huge influences in my sound. Yeah, they have. That's great. I love it. Well, it's a mixture of country, pop, and rock music. Um, I always just called it rock and roll, but people really seem to latch on to the country rock or pop country aspect of it. Take You Away is the first single off of the new CD called Take You Away. Um, and it's a story about, you know, from the singer's point of view, there's this girl who he's just enamored of, enamored by, enamored something. I'll have to check with an English teacher about the correct uh, saying of that. But who he's just, infatuated with. Um, but he realized that she just has no idea who he is. And he just sees her going through the motions and not being with guys who he feels um, like he could really give her something that they aren't and really treat her right. Um, and so the whole idea is, I'll take you away from all of that. I will um, give you everything that you deserve. That's what I hope. That's what I hope for. Uh, yeah, the band of Thieves. They actually, for the longest time, didn't have a band name. So that just really confused everybody. Everybody was like, "So is the band called Skyler? Are you called Skyler? What's going on?" So we finally had to come up with a band name, and we're all huge fans of Taylor Swift. And when her new record came out, one of the favorite songs of all of ours was the very last track on it called "Long Live." And there's this one line in it that says, "A band of thieves in ripped up jeans got to rule the world." And so we were talking about that, and one of them said, "Oh, Band of Thieves." And we're like, "Oh, Skylar and the Band of Thieves," and it just stuck. Probably our most memorable performance was at Higher Ground in Burlington, Vermont. Um, we arrived uh, just before, actually not, just as a blizzard was hitting South Burlington, and we loaded in the snowstorm, and just kept our fingers crossed that people would show up because we'd never played in Vermont before. Um, and God love them, our fans showed up and filled the room in a blizzard. Our first time in Vermont, so that was a real treat. Well, most of my favorite artists are unfortunately either really old or dead. Um, but right now, I'd love to work with Taylor Swift. She really seems to be on top of her game, and I want to work with somebody who's really hitting their stride. Well, this is our second EP, so second half-length album. Uh, I mean, we could potentially put both of them together and release it as one CD, but I hate doing that. It just seems so cheap. Um, so I would love to record a full-length album of all new material, but the time has to be right. So, who knows? Maybe a year from now, we'll be talking about my full-length record. Well, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.